Okay, sorry about that. My phone didn't have any storage. So, my friends ended up moving in with me, and that was actually the best thing that could have happened for me because it helped me um, get my hope back. And I didn't have any hope at the time. And so, but to get back to the original story, so I had moved into the shelter with my kids, and I was very prideful at the time. I just thought I was better than, you know, whatever, even though at the time I didn't have anything. But I just thought I was too good to be in a shelter and, have to, go through that whole process. And so, um, moved into the shelter. These women were amazing. And they introduced me at that time to spirituality. We had to meditate. We had like the bowls and everything, which I would recommend to anybody. The bowls are just so soothing and it is so good for meditation. But, you know, what I learned though, I had to question. Moving into the shelter helped me question, everything that I had learned about religion, about God, about, traditions and everything that I had been taught. And what I questioned was, I hadn't been to church in, years prior to me going to the shelter, um, for a couple of different reasons that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but I'll do another video about that. But I hadn't been to church in years. And so my thing was, God met me in that shelter. I had an attitude, I developed an attitude of gratitude once I put the ego to the side, once I dropped the ego that I had. And I became thankful and grateful for every single thing that I had in that moment. You know, having people be so supportive and having people speak life back into me and having people, just teach me how to, do basic things that I had gotten out of, just having structure and a routine and everything of that sort. So, like I said, I questioned everything that I had learned at that point. And what I realized is that God can meet you anywhere. He can meet you anywhere and he will use anybody. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, so everything that I have been taught is not true. I don't have to, sit in a pew, and I'm not downplaying church. Please, I'm not doing that at all. I'm not downplaying that because church is to be around like-minded people, to be around like-minded people who think like you. You go encourage each other. You go and offer, God, your praise, your sacrifice. Offer him an offering of sacrifice and praise, and hopefully the church that you belong to is, providing for the community that it's in. I think that's the only issue that I have is that there's so many churches and they're not really providing for the communities that they are in. And that's a problem. That is a problem. That is their whole mission. That's the whole point, honestly. Because God doesn't have to be in the church. He's not in the church. He's not in the building. He's in you. And so I'll go on a tangent about that. But anyhow, God can meet you anywhere. And that's when my relationship with God developed because like I said, I developed an attitude of gratitude and he provided every single thing that I needed. And it's been on and cracking ever since. Because, if God can meet me here at my very lowest, I was drinking every day. I was, it was bad. It was bad. I didn't have any hope. I was just done. And God still met me where I was at. He loves our honesty. He loves our honesty. I was at one point, like I was saying before, where, I was like, God, just take me. I'm done. I'm tired. I hate you. I don't want to do this no more. And, I got it all out. And I remember hearing, okay, are you done now? Are you done now? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Clear as day, audibly. Are you done now? He loves the honesty. He doesn't have to figure, well, not that God has to figure out because he knows our beginning and our end. But just like how, when you're dealing with a 3D person, when somebody is just honest and real with you and you don't have to figure out, what they're thinking or just, what's going on with them or whatever, they're just upfront with you, you appreciate that honesty. Those are the people you keep around because you never have to second guess where they're at, who they are, and what their intentions are. And that's how God approaches us too. You know, he needs people who are willing to show up. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter. And I mean state as far as, you know, your physical state, you know, broke down, busted, disgusted, on drugs, alcoholic, you know, smoking weed, you know, right before you. It doesn't, God don't care about none of that. And the reason why he doesn't care about any of that is because when you are ready to change, he allows the Holy Spirit to speak to you and change that was what is within sight of you. But he also needs willing vessels. He needs people who are willing to say, you know what, at the drop of a dime, I'm gonna stop it, whatever I'm doing. Even if I go back to what I'm doing right when I'm done doing what you want me to do, God. He needs people who are willing to stop what they are doing and be his mouthpiece. He needs willing vessels. We don't have a lot of willing vessels. And again, like I said, that's another video. That's another whole topic that I will get into definitely, because a lot of us are missing out on God because we have been taught that we have to have a certain, excuse me,